Have you ever wondered what if a small change in your daily diet could help you feel fully alive again, not just physically, but emotionally, intimately, and energetically, in a way you thought had been lost to time? I know it might sound fun, but imagine waking up one morning and feeling a calm clarity in your mind. Your body feels lighter, your joints less stiff, your breath deeper, and your mood strangely joyful. And perhaps most surprisingly, you feel reconnected not just with yourself, but with your partner, with your energy, and with the vibrant version of you that life may have buried under stress, routine, or age. And I'm not talking about expensive treatments or lifelong supplements. I'm talking about something surprisingly simple yet profoundly overlooked: food. More specifically, a few humble vegetables that most people ignore, but that quietly carry the power to boost circulation, awaken hormonal balance, and restore a sense of closeness that many couples over 60 believe is gone forever. After over 30 years of working with men and women over 60, I've come to understand a truth that's often missed. True health isn't just about heart rate or blood pressure. Real wellness is the harmony between your body, your emotions, and your inner vitality. When your blood flows better, your muscles heal faster, your brain feels sharper, but even more, your relationships feel alive again. Science calls it the connection between circulation, hormones, and mood. I call it a return to yourself. And here's the most important part: you don't need complicated routines. Just a few strategic choices in the produce aisle can begin to turn things around within weeks. Remember this: when you nourish your body correctly, your body responds with life. When you give it the right support, it gives you back energy, mobility, and even intimacy. You might be wondering, is it really worth trying? Let me assure you, you have nothing to lose but possibly everything to gain. Better blood flow, improved energy, emotional clarity, and even the rekindling of affection with the one you love. In today's video, I'll show you how these simple vegetables are changing the lives of people just like you, men and women who thought it was too late, only to discover that the body still remembers how to come alive. And it starts with knowing what to eat and when. If something I've said so far resonates with you, if it stirs something deep inside, then stay with me until the end. Because sometimes one small change is all it takes to feel a shift you never thought possible after 60. And before we dive in, if you're interested in senior health tips, practical and science-backed advice for those over 60, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a health tip designed just for you. Now let's begin this journey together. Let's uncover the quiet power hiding in your produce drawer, the starting point for a stronger body, a clearer mind, and a reawakened connection to life itself. 1. Let me ask you this. What if one of the most powerful tools to restore energy, intimacy, and emotional warmth after 60 wasn't hidden in a supplement bottle, but quietly waiting in the produce aisle, beneath a deep red skin that stains your fingertips and awakens something ancient inside you? I'm talking about beets. Most people overlook them. They're seen as messy, earthy, maybe a little too intense. But there's a reason beets have been used in traditional healing practices for generations. And for older adults who feel like their body is slowing down, like something vital has quietly slipped away with time, beets may be exactly the signal your body needs to remember how to feel again now. Aging isn't the villain here. In fact, there's a certain wisdom, grace, and clarity that only come with the passing years. But it's also true that aging can bring subtle losses, the kind we don't always talk about. A fading spark, cold hands, slower circulation, distant intimacy. It's not just about the body becoming stiffer or less responsive, it's about how connection itself can begin to withdraw, both physically and emotionally. And this is where beets quietly offer their gift, not as a miracle, as a natural nudge. When you eat beets regularly, their natural nitrates are converted by your body into nitric oxide, a compound that tells your blood vessels to relax, expand, and flow freely again. This isn't hype, this is hard science. Nitric oxide improves oxygen delivery, energizes tissues, and enhances blood flows, especially in areas where aging tends to limit it. And when blood flows better, everything changes. Your hands and feet warm up, your face gains that gentle flush of life again. But it goes deeper than that. Mental clarity sharpens, emotional responsiveness returns, and yes, both men and women report that moments of physical connection feel more alive, more comfortable, and more mutual. I've seen it firsthand. There was a man, Walter, 72, who came into my office not because he was sick, but because he felt absent, not himself. He missed the closeness with his wife, the vitality he once took for granted. I didn't give him a drug or a hormone shot. I told him to roast a handful of beets and eat them every day for 2 weeks. He laughed, but he tried it. When he returned, something had shifted. He stood taller, looked brighter. His words carried excitement. He told me his walks were lighter, his sleep was deeper, and best of all, he and his wife had begun to feel connected again. Not just physically, emotionally. That's the kind of shift beets can support. They don't shock the system, they remind the system. They invite your vessels, your nerves, and your heart to open again gently, respectfully. They don't just restore circulation, they restore presence. And when we're more present, we feel again desire, gratitude, connection. And here's the beauty. You don't need to juice them or buy fancy beet powder. Roast them, steam them, slice them into salads, or blend them into your morning smoothie. Keep it simple, but be consistent. A small serving daily is enough to send your body the message, I still want to feel, I still want to connect. No, beets won't make you 20 again, but they might just help you remember who you were at 20 in energy, in spirit, and in intimacy. Because when your blood flows freely, everything else in life flows more freely too. Now tell me in the comments, have you ever tried adding beets to your routine? Type yes if you have, or not yet if you're ready to start. I'd love to know how it changes things for you. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to stay with us, because what's coming next could deepen this transformation even more. 2. Here's something few people over 60 ever suspect. What if there's a humble leafy green that not only boosts circulation, but also helps rebalance the delicate hormones responsible for desire, emotional warmth, and even spontaneous laughter? That leafy green is spinach. It may not look like much, a handful of soft green leaves tossed into a salad, wilted into a soup, or blended into your smoothie. Most of us pass over it without a second thought. But within that modest appearance lies a quiet force, one that doesn't demand attention, but rather works in harmony with your body's most intimate rhythms. If you've been watching this video and these insights are resonating with you, type 1 in the comments below, because what I'm about to share may help you understand why so many people feel something slowly shift after 60 and how something as simple as spinach can gently invite that energy back. You see, around the time we enter our 60s or 70s, there's a subtle change, not just in our physical pace, but in our inner fire. That quiet, natural pull toward touch, toward laughter, toward closeness. Sometimes it dims. The world tells us it's normal, that this is just how aging works. But I've spent decades listening to men and women who are quietly asking for more, not through prescriptions or gimmicks, but through something deeper, something real. That's where spinach surprises people. It's rich in magnesium, iron, folate, and vitamin K, essential nutrients that help regulate and produce the very hormones that support libido, energy, and mood. These aren't just vitamins. They're signals. Messages that whisper to your body, it's safe to wake up again. For men, spinach supports natural testosterone production. For women, it aids estrogen balance, both of which are vital not only for sexual function but for emotional stability, restful sleep, and the confidence to feel present in your own skin. Because when hormones decline, we don't just lose stamina, we lose a part of ourselves. Emotional resilience weakens. Sleep becomes fragmented. The spark between partners often turns into routine companionship, not out of a lack of love, but because we stop feeling like ourselves. I remember Jack and Marlene, a couple in their early 70s. They'd been together for over 4 decades, devoted, caring, but something had quietly faded. Jack said he no longer felt the same spark. Marlene said she felt invisible, though she never said it aloud until we spoke. I didn't give them a protocol or a hormone patch. I simply suggested they add 1 handful of spinach a day to a meal, a smoothie, a stir, even a soup. Nothing complicated. Weeks passed. Slowly something shifted. Jack described his mind feeling clearer, less foggy. Marlene began sleeping through the night again, and they began laughing more, holding hands without thinking. The fire didn't return in a blaze, it glowed back as a steady flame, one that invited warmth, comfort, and quiet connection. That's the true beauty of spinach. It doesn't force change. It restores balance, it calms the nervous system, supports adrenal function, and gently boosts serotonin levels, the brain chemical that helps us feel hopeful, steady, and connected. In a world full of noise and pressure, spinach works in the background to bring us back to ourselves. For women, its iron content supports circulation and oxygen flow, easing fatigue and helping the body reawaken to pleasure. For men, its magnesium content boosts nitric oxide and hormonal pathways that support vitality and physical intimacy. But beyond all that, spinach restores clarity. That feeling of truly being in your body again, of being emotionally open and ready to connect. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming what was always yours, the right to feel, to enjoy, to express, and to love fully in every season of life. So yes, that handful of leaves may seem insignificant, but over time, it can become a quiet revolution. A soft signal to your body and your heart that your story isn't finished. That love, in all its forms, still belongs to you. 3. Let me ask you this. What if one small, ancient plant, something you probably already have in your kitchen, could rekindle your internal spark, deepen your emotional connection, and restore circulation in places that truly matter, all in just one bite? That's the quiet magic of garlic, often tossed into recipes without much thought. Garlic has journeyed with humanity for centuries, not just as a flavor booster, but as a symbol of strength, vitality, and yes, passion. Across cultures and continents, it was revered not merely for its bold aroma, but for its subtle ability to revive the spirit and awaken the body. And as we grow older, those qualities become more precious than ever. Aging doesn't usually happen in dramatic waves. It often feels more like someone is slowly dimming the lights, not all at once, but over time. A little less warmth in your hands, a little less urgency in your step, a little more distance between you and the person lying beside you. Your body whispers instead of shouts, and if we're not paying attention, we stop hearing it altogether. But garlic speaks the same quiet language, one of gentle awakening. Its most powerful compound, allicin, doesn't just give garlic, it's unmistakable. Sentite supports real biological change. Allicin helps reduce inflammation, improves heart health, and crucially boosts nitric oxide production. This compound gently tells your blood vessels to relax and expand, which increases blood flow to the brain, to the heart, and yes, to the parts of the body most essential to intimacy and connection. And when circulation improves, so does everything else: mental clarity, emotional energy, even that deep sense of presence within your own skin. You're not just going through the motions, you're feeling again. I remember Sam, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. He came into my clinic looking strong on the outside, but you could see the fatigue in his eyes. "I miss feeling like a man," he said, not entirely sure what that meant anymore. His relationship with his wife was stable, but the spark, he admitted, had faded into something polite and familiar. I didn't hand him a prescription. I handed him a challenge: 1 clove of garlic a day, crushed raw and mixed into olive oil or plain yogurt. Simple, no pills, no promises. 3 weeks later, Sam returned, smiling. His blood pressure had improved. Yes, but more importantly, his energy was back. He said he was sleeping deeper, waking up lighter, and blushing slightly shared that he and his wife had recently enjoyed one of the most intimate evenings they'd had in years. Not because they were chasing youth, but because they felt alive in each other's presence again. That's the subtle strength of garlic. It doesn't force change, it invites it. It gently nudges your body to remember what it once did effortlessly. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that silently builds walls between you and those you love. It relaxes the mind, so the heart can open. It doesn't shout, it restores. For women, garlic improves pelvic blood flow, easing discomfort and enhancing sensitivity. For men, it supports sustained blood flow, improving stamina and response. But perhaps its greatest gift is how effortlessly it integrates into everyday life. 1 crushed clove, 1 quiet act of nourishment, and over time, a steady shift in how you feel, move, connect, and love. You don't need to change your life overnight. You don't need an expensive clinic. You just need to start where you are, with something small, accessible, and consistent. Because when your heart beats stronger, when your breath deepens, when your blood flows freely, your outer world begins to reflect that internal transformation. Touch becomes warmer, words become softer, relationships grow deeper, and it all begins with a single clove of garlic. For we've just explored how garlic stirs the body back to life. But no great symphony plays with just one instrument. What if I told you there's another vegetable, bright, humble, often overlooked, that works quietly behind the scenes too, and help cleanse the very hormonal imbalances that weigh down your energy, your connection, and your ability to feel truly at home in your body? Let's talk about carrots, the gentle hormone balancer nature designed not just to nourish, but to purify. If you're still with me and finding this valuable, drop a 1 in the comments, because this next part may change how you look at this vibrant orange root forever. Carrots may seem too simple to be powerful. They're crisp, sweet, and often associated with childhood snacks or forgettable side dishes. But beneath their unassuming appearance lies a silent intelligentsia, natural design that speaks directly to our hormonal rhythms, to the patterns that shape our mood, energy, and even how we connect with those we love. Especially as we age, hormonal changes are deeply personal. They don't just shift the physical, though that certainly happens. They touch the emotional, the spiritual, and the relational. For women, the changes can bring dryness, fatigue, or a vague but growing distance between them and their partner. For men, it can feel like desire, not just sexual desire, but desire for life itself has grown heavy and hard to reach. It's subtle, but unmistakable. And more often than not, the root cause is the same: hormonal imbalance, and the body's increasing struggle to clear what it no longer needs. That's where carrots step in, not as a magic fix, but as a natural regulator. Carrots contain a unique type of fiber that binds to excess estrogen and waste hormones in the gut, helping the body eliminate them smoothly and gently. This isn't just detox. This is about clearing space for energy, for presence, for emotional intimacy to return without force, because when excess estrogen builds up in both men and women, it can cloud everything: mood swings, fatigue, anxiety, lowered desire. But when that burden is lifted, something remarkable happens. The body begins to respond, the mind clears, the warmth of a touch feels welcome again. The distance between partners narrows, effort, but through ease. I remember Claire, a woman in her late 60s, who sat across from me and quietly said, "I feel like a stranger in my own skin. I'm here, but I don't feel present. I want to connect, but it's like my body forgot how." We didn't start with anything drastic. I asked her to add one simple thing to her day: a raw carrot salad each afternoon. Just shredded carrot with a bit of olive oil and apple cider vinegar. It wasn't just a snack. It was a message to her body that she was still listening, and within weeks, Claire started smiling more. Her walks got longer. Her husband noticed something soft had returned to her gaze. This wasn't magic, it was her body remembering how to respond. Once given the right support, carrots are also rich in beta-carotene, which the body converts into vitamin A nutrient, crucial for reproductive health, radiant skin, and immune resilience. They support liver function, which is essential for proper hormone processing. And for men, this hormone-clearing effect can free up more available testosterone, enhancing vitality, confidence, and stamina in ways that ripple through every part of life. But beyond the science, carrots offer something emotional. There's comfort in their crunch and their color, in their simplicity. They don't demand change, they encourage it. They remind you of your own vitality, not in a loud or flashy way but in a steady, grounded one. Adding carrots to your daily routine may seem like a small act, but it's the kind of small act that causes lasting shifts. A raw carrot at lunch, a few roasted slices with dinner. This isn't about restriction, it's about realignment. About gently inviting your body back to the version of yourself that still lives underneath the noise of stress, fatigue, and forgotten desire. Because intimacy isn't just about physical closeness, it's about how we feel within ourselves. And when the body feels clean, balanced, and open, the heart tends to follow. That's what carrots offer. Not just nourishment, but emotional readiness, a quiet awakening. 5. Just when you thought vegetables had no more secrets to offer, there's one more often overlooked, often underestimated, yet silently working through your bloodstream like a gentle wave of restoration. It doesn't just support your circulation, it revives it from your toes to your heart, to the quiet, intimate places where connection truly lives. Let's talk about onions, nature's unexpected ally for intimacy. Of all the vegetables that pass through our kitchens, onions may be the most misunderstood. Rarely are they the star of the plate. Often, their background, flavor, base note, a supporting act. But anyone who's ever stood at the cutting board, eyes stinging, heart unexpectedly stirred, knows onions have a presence layer after layer. They mirror the complexity of who we are: sharp yet sweet, strong yet vulnerable. And for older adults longing to reconnect with their bodies and their partners, onions may be the ally they never knew they needed. We don't usually associate onions with intimacy, but maybe we should, because intimacy, like onions, has layers. It can be messy, raw. It requires time, presence, and the willingness to peel things back gently, patiently. Yet, as we age, we often stop peeling. We settle for the surface. We retreat into routine. And in doing so, we forget what it feels like to be open, to be touched not just physically but emotionally. But onions, in their quiet way, can help reopen those doors, not through drama, but through deeply supportive biology. Rich analysis. The same powerful compound found in garlic, onions naturally enhance circulation, reduce inflammation, and support the body's production of nitric oxide, a key player in relaxing blood vessels and improving blood flow. And for older adults, that doesn't just mean a healthier heart. It means better oxygen delivery to areas essential for closeness to the pelvis. Yes, but also to the brain and the emotional center of the heart. What's truly beautiful about onions, though, is that they nourish not just the physical body, but the emotional one as well. Onions help stabilize blood sugar, support adrenal function, and reduce cortisol, the stealthy stress hormone that quietly erodes closeness and intimacy over time. When cortisol is high, we feel tense, withdrawn, distracted. When it lowers, our breathing slows, our defenses drop. We begin to feel safe again, not just in life, but in our own skin. I once worked with a couple in their late 60s who had been married for over 40 years. Their love was solid, but something had gone quiet between them. "We're best friends," the wife told me, "but we haven't been lovers in years." There was no bitterness in her voice, only longing. Her husband looked away when she spoke, clearly moved but unsure how to respond. We didn't start with hormones or therapy. We started with food specifically. Caramelized onions. I asked them to incorporate onions into their meals at least 5 times a week. Sautéed with greens, folded into soups, slower roasted in olive oil. Nothing fancy, just consistent. A few weeks passed, and when they returned, something had softened. They were still best friends, but now there was laughter between them, gentle teasing, blushing. They were rediscovering something they thought had quietly slipped away. The wife said, "It's like something inside us just switched back on." That's what onions can do, not in a flash, but over time they help the body remember. They warm the limbs, yes, but also the space between two people. They bring blood flow back to the places that stir pleasure, and clarity back to the brain, where the memories of connection live. Onions remind us that food isn't just fuel, it's medicine, it's memory, it's meaning, and they're available to everyone, affordable, flexible, and powerful. Roast them until they're sweet, blend them into sauces, eat them raw for the strongest effect. But above all, choose them, because each time you nourish your body with intention, you're making a decision to care for yourself and for the one you love. A quiet act of devotion. One meal, one breath, one moment at a time. 6. After everything we've uncovered, from the humble power of beets to the surprising intimacy of onions, let me ask you this: what else in your life might be quietly holding untapped potential? What everyday choices, so familiar they've become invisible, could actually carry the key to something extraordinary? Because while food may have been a starting point, the journey to renewed vitality and connection doesn't end with vegetables. There's one final step, not a spice, not a recipe, but a shift in how we eat, how we feel, and how we live, in a way that nourishes not just the body, but the mind and the heart. This is where transformation becomes ritual. Now I know something new later in life can feel both exciting and overwhelming. Many of us carry the weight of past attempts, the diets we gave up on, the promises we made to ourselves and quietly let go. So when the idea of shifting your eating habits emerges, when you consider inviting 5 powerful vegetables into your life to support circulation, intimacy, and daily vitality, it's only natural to ask, can something this small really make a difference? Yes, and not because it changes everything overnight, not because it makes you 20 again, and certainly not because you need fixing. The real power comes from something much simpler and much deeper: intention. Choosing to nourish yourself with purpose consistently and gently is an act of radical self-respect. It's a message to your body that you haven't given up, that you still believe in its ability to feel alive, connected, and full of potential. And the truth is, you don't need a complex program. You don't need to count calories. You don't need rigid rules. You just need to begin. Maybe that means grating a fresh carrot into your lunch, sauteing onions in olive oil for dinner, blending spinach into your morning smoothie, adding roasted beets to your salad, crushing a clove of garlic into your homemade dressing. Nothing extreme, just one small action, repeated with care. That's where transformation begins. The beauty of this journey is that it doesn't just reshape your body, it rewires your thinking. It softens your mood, your sleep deepens, your energy feels steadier, and most powerfully, your connection to yourself and to your partner becomes more present, more comfortable, more real. You begin to see that intimacy never actually disappears with age. It just requires a little more tending, a bit more patience, a deeper form of nourishment than what youth demanded. And as you start to feel that shift, not in dramatic leaps, but in quiet, steady waves, you begin to trust your body again. That trust, once bruised by fatigue or disappointment, slowly begins to rebuild. You feel more capable, more open, more grounded, and that energy spills into everything: the way you touch, the way you love, the way you wake up in the morning. It isn't just about food, it's about what food allows you to feel, remember, and reclaim. Because each small choice you make to support your health is a vote for the version of you that still wants to be alive in every sense of the word. Not just surviving, but thriving, sensing, connecting, loving. So if this video has stirred something inside you, if you're ready to begin gently, right where you are, drop a yes in the comments below. Let me know how you'll take your first step. Maybe it's tonight's dinner, maybe it's tomorrow's breakfast. It doesn't matter how big it is. What matters is that you begin. So here we are, standing at the edge of something both familiar and quietly revolutionary. The beets, the spinach, the garlic, the carrots, the onions. They aren't just ingredients, they're gentle reminders. They whisper, you're still here, still capable, still worthy of deep connection, warm laughter, and feeling alive in your own skin. Because this journey isn't really about vegetables. It's about coming back to yourself. It's about remembering that your body, after everything it's carried, endured, celebrated, is still your home, and it still responds to care, to patience, to love. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to chase your younger self. What you need is right in front of you, one small choice at a time. A roasted beet, a raw carrot salad, a clove of garlic mixed into something warm and nourishing. This is how you rebuild trust with your body. This is how energy returns. This is how intimacy stops feeling like a memory and becomes your reality again. You are not too old. It is not too late. And yes, there is more waiting for you. More vitality, more closeness, more joy. If this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you already tried one of these foods? Are you ready to begin? And if you haven't already, gently tap that like button and subscribe, not for me, but for you, so you never miss another simple, powerful reminder that your health still matters, that your life is still unfolding with flavor, emotion, and meaning. You deserve that. And now, you're ready for it.